The Big Show starts now.
You bet it does. Welcome in to Thursday's edition of The Big Show on your Total Sports Station, KTGR. Andy Humphrey and Brendan Schaefer here as we get closer to the weekend and we get closer to Mizzou men's basketball's final game. Which seed do you want in the SEC tournament? I think it's pretty simple as to how Mizzou should play it. I don't know how Brendan feels, but I think it's pretty straightforward. They should win.
Beat Arkansas, and then I think whatever seed they end up with is fine. I thought about doing the LeBron James, like not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6. I want 8. Give me the 8 seed, but I don't really feel too strongly about that either. But I love diving into these scenarios when you have just the one Saturday remaining that's going to determine the answer to these questions. We can finally kind of drill down a little bit on what we're going to get.
We're going to talk about what the seeds could be and what Mizzou should want it to be here in just a little bit, plus some SEC basketball tiers, some talk with Drew King on Mizzou Hoops at PowerMizzou.com. He'll join us a little later on, but first, let's get to this.
Now, the Big Show's Big Deal.
Look, I think it's pretty simple for Mizzou. You got one game left, and it allows you to get a quality win in Quad 1 at home in front of a sold-out crowd, and it eliminates any of this. Maybe they'll slip out back near the line in the NCAA tournament. No, it eliminates all of that. Go win against Arkansas and just see how it plays out. It does give you a shot at a double bye. I think that's pretty meaningful for Mizzou. If not, gives them the 5 seed regardless of what else happens. If they win against Arkansas, that'll be the lowest that they go. Anything lower, and you're potentially playing on Wednesday, which I think you want to avoid as much as possible. So, can Mizzou get it done this weekend? That'll obviously be the question. 11 a.m. tip-off on Saturday. It'll be the first SEC game of the day, Mizzou and Arkansas. That's the Big Show's Big Deal on this 5th day of March 2026. Give us a call or a text here at 573-875-KTGR if you want to weigh in. We're live on YouTube also, youtube.com/KTGR Sports and Facebook.com/KTGR.
We're at all those places. Here's something you said that I got to push back a little bit.
What?
I like what you said.
What?
I do say this idea of just beat Arkansas. We say that kind of flippantly. A lot of people have been able to say, hey, if you just beat Arkansas, you don't have to worry about this, that, and the other. The only team I've seen recently that's actually been able to accomplish that has been Florida, who did it 111-77 as the final score last weekend.
It is. We made it sound a little straightforward than it actually is, right?
Yeah,
that's true.
I'm looking. Kentucky beat them back on the 31st of January. Arkansas ran all the way through to mid-February, lost that crazy overtime game. I think that was double overtime at Bama.
Yep.
And then they lose big to Florida. I think Florida's on a path to being they're a 1 seed on Selection Sunday. That won't even surprise me. I know there's 4 or 5 other candidates, but the Gators are just right now on a warpath. So I would say, yeah, man, beat them. Beat Arkansas and be the 5 at worst. But I still, that nagging part in the back of my head always is still kind of sitting there going, yeah, but what if they don't find a way to do that? The environment is such that they hopefully have a chance. But if they don't, please don't be any lower than 8 when it comes to the seeding. Please be able to get out of that Wednesday doldrum and find yourself at least playing on Thursday as your first game.
Well, here's the thing. If every game goes as projected, favored team wins across all the SEC this Saturday, that would mean Arkansas beating Mizzou. Mizzou's the 8 seed.
Right.
That's if everything goes to chalk.
We ran this yesterday, though, and the one game that I felt like I was most concerned about within that was Tennessee-Vanderbilt.
Yes.
Where if Vandy wins, then you're in a little bit more of a tricky situation with regard to you losing and then everything else going to chalk. Mizzou could end up as the 9. Granted, if Vanderbilt, and we're going to kind of know because Mizzou plays at 11. So if Vanderbilt loses, that's good enough for Mizzou to not be the 9 or the 10. But if Vanderbilt wins, then you still can open yourself up to passing Tennessee, which is something that's good. But that's only in the event of a Mizzou win. So I don't really know what time does Vanderbilt and Tennessee play. I guess is
They play at 1, so they're
okay,
right afterwards.
So it's right after. So we'll know by then. Obviously, if Mizzou loses to Arkansas, your rooting interest becomes something different than what it would be if Mizzou beats Arkansas. If Mizzou beats Arkansas, you say, hey, we want the Volunteers to lose because you pass them, and that's your double bye. I don't think anything else have to happen for that, or do you need some help still?
No, it's just Mizzou wins, Tennessee loses. You are the 4.
Yeah. So that's obviously the gravy part of Saturday afternoon. If things go well, Saturday morning into midday. If Missouri should lose to Arkansas, then it's not like we'll be confused by the time Tennessee versus Vandy tips off. At that point, you want Vanderbilt to suffer that loss to avoid falling so far down the table that you're lacing them up on Wednesday in Nashville.
That's the nice part about it for Mizzou, that they don't necessarily need to score. They don't have the ability to scoreboard watch.
Yeah,
maybe
go play
just
your game.
Go play. Wake up early. Make sure you are into your routine a little bit quicker. 11 a.m. tip. Same thing for fans. Obviously, it's sold out though. Fans will be ready. They're ready to party if
good senior day.
Get that going. Senior day will happen after the game, no matter what. As far as how it could go, though, I mean, we're gonna have Drew King on at 4:25. He'll talk some Mizzou hoops with us. Covers all things Mizzou basketball. Gabe Bjarmond of Power Mizzou saw him say early this morning that, look, Arkansas's perspective on this is pretty simple. Now that they have beaten Texas last night, because they won, and so Mizzou can't pass Arkansas at all.
Yeah.
The 3 is off the table. But here's the thing.
Go ahead.
Arkansas is going to be either the 2 or the 3, no matter what.
Which means you're not playing Florida until the title game.
Right. You are playing Alabama.
Yep.
Most likely in that semifinal game, and the only difference between having the 2 and the 3 is jersey color. That's it.
Yep.
How much is Arkansas going to want to go all out for this game before that conference tournament when they have a clear shot of winning it? They have a double bye. They have a top 3 seed locked up.
Here's the thing. I don't know about Arkansas as a team, because you know that any team suiting up to play a game, it feels like we talk more about rivalry games in football than basketball, but like this is your battle line for basketball, whatever that means to you. You'd love to spoil it for Missouri fans and for their senior day. Like that's, if you're a road team, that's always going to be your mentality. But Darius Acuff has been playing through an angle a while now.
Yep.
How much he plays, Mr. I'm going to grit it out for 48 minutes in a double overtime game, despite the fact that I'm on a bum ankle. Like, that's a dog, by the way. Give me that kid over Darren Peterson if I'm an NBA team.
Yeah, he's
like bar none. But does he have to be a dog on Saturday, or can he kind of take it? Can he be like a little puppy? Just like go
There's
out
more
there,
important
run
games. There's
bit.
more important games coming up, Darius. Like
This doesn't matter.
Early
Save
game. You're
yourself for
trying
the
to
NBA.
get ready earlier in a road trip. Like
Give us a little bit of that Darren Peterson energy is what we're saying. Because Acuff is a sincerely really good player. They've got other players. I mean, you know what's funny is you think they got to honor Trevin Brazil on senior night, don't they?
Well, do they? I mean,
I think the Antlers will honor him. They'll honor him in some other kind of way
to do it. Yeah,
that's funny. I mean, he's going to be in the building for Missouri's senior day, and that's not the way that it was. As his freshman year was happening, we thought he'd be in the building for it. So that's a crazy way for that journey to really come to a close. But all this to say, Arkansas's got other players. But if I'm Calipari, would I consider some light calisthenic type of day for Acuff instead of, balls to the wall, play 36 out of 40 minutes and, try to make sure you win this game? I think that's a fascinating question. Look, it may not matter. Arkansas stakes out a 20-12 lead in the first 10 minutes, and you're like, oh boy, here's the uphill climb. Like, they might just be the better team. But if Missouri comes out swinging and it's physical, and you're like, let's just let Acuff take a breather here, and you see a little bit more of that. Like, I imagine he will play. I don't think they hold him out,
Yeah.
Because in theory, the longer time goes on, his ankle should be improving. But just to make sure nothing crazy happens, like it's not like the NFL where week 18, we know everybody's sitting. It's different than that. But you're right. Like, I don't think you could probably come up with a scenario that means less for Arkansas when it comes to standing, seeding, SEC tournament, situation, NCAA tournament situation. Like, this is a game that if they win, great. They're kind of supposed to. But if they lose, it's not a bad loss. It's still a quad one loss, and it's not going to kill your seeding in any way, shape, or form. I'll be very curious to see the minute count on Acuff, I think, is my main question on this topic.
It's fascinating. It's not something we would think about at this stage, especially in college basketball. Like,
it's just not the sport we do this.
Like in Arkansas, maybe they're in the running for a top 16 type of national seed, like to be in a spot where they could be favored to advance to the second weekend, essentially, by their seeding. It is fascinating. I would still lean that Mizzou's going to have to be ready for an Arkansas team that will still want to play fast and want to reach 90 and has a bunch of players that can get them there, even if Acuff only plays 20 minutes, right? Or something like that.
Right.
This, though, but Mizzou, even through all of that, even though Arkansas's got more talent and even though they have more players that can hurt you, and they clearly did in Fayetteville a few weeks ago, Mizzou's got more on the line. They've got more to play for. They need to avoid a 9 or a 10 as much as possible. They can solidify that and not have to worry about what everybody else does if they go out and they win this game. It's not going to be easy, right? Like they could still play pretty hard, play some of their best, and Arkansas might still be better and win the game by 5. That's what they're about favored to win it by at this point. So it can still work out that way, but I see Mizzou coming out of the gate as the higher motivated team. Kill me if I'm wrong.
No,
I still believe that that's going to be the case.
And if we're wrong, Monday we'll go, yep, Arkansas came to play.
Yeah.
But I will not do the thing I often do where I kind of play up and say, oh, no, respect your opponent, which can sometimes include, respect their motivation. Like they're coached by John Calipari. They're going to be motivated to win the basketball game. They're one of the top 15 to 20 teams in the nation. They're really good. But I do think that, let's put it this way, Andy, if Mizzou's motivation isn't higher than Arkansas's, Dennis Gates didn't do his job getting these guys ready for this game.
Right.
Like they have to know that this is, you got to be crispy out there for this one, because it can really make a difference when we're talking about that big swing in one direction or the other. You lose this game, okay. Are you still in the tournament? Yeah, we think so. Everybody will react when Lenardi moves you to like the last team that's avoiding Dayton. Like they'll drop down that little list a little bit more, and people will start to get, they'll pucker a little bit, and then you'll go, oh my gosh, we are playing LSU because we're the 10 or whatever it ends up being, and you have to sort of react to that. You can avoid that, and doing it in the other direction means a quad one win over a bona fide one of the top teams in the league. It means a very good shot at the double bye. It means, you're not on Joe Lenardi's little graphic anymore you're back to, that where everybody thinks you're a 9 or an 8 seed. And if you happen to be a 10, it's not the type of 10 that was at risk of missing the field. It's the type of 10 where we complain that you got underseeded, but then we whisper, hey, better than being a 9. And we move on with our lives and get ready for the tournament game. Yeah, it's a big swing in terms of the comfort level you can have moving forward. You don't want the team to get too comfortable. But as a fan, I like being comfortable. I very much enjoy the comfort if they can give it to me.
Look, that's what you can provide if you're able to win this game on Saturday. Call or text us here at 875-KTGR. What seed would you want Mizzou to get in the SEC tournament? Let's say the most likely thing happens and they lose. What seed would you want? Because at that point, they can get anything between 6 and 10. And there are a bunch of different results that could sway it one way or the other. But anything between 6 and 10 is on the table if they lose.
Yeah, and I would say not 9 or 10. And what you're looking at right now in those spots is Georgia and Texas, two teams that are 9 and 8 but have beaten you. So if they win, their 10 and 8 is better than your 10 and 8. Georgia plays Mississippi State. Womp womp. I hope the best for Josh Hubbard in that game.
Yeah.
Texas plays Oklahoma. You root for Oklahoma. I think there's actually a better than equal chance that Oklahoma wins that game. It's in Austin, but I think Oklahoma's playing at a frankly a higher level right now than Texas. Motivation wise, Andy, Texas is going to need that because they're on that tournament bubble. Losing to OU at home is different than losing to them on the road. It would be a quad 2 game, I believe.
Yeah.
Playing them in Austin. So like their motivation is going to be high for the Longhorns, you'd have to assume. But I wouldn't be shocked in that rivalry game, which I think probably does extend beyond just football for those guys, that Oklahoma could go in there and give them a fight. Beyond that, though, I mean, if you're talking about the 8 versus the 7 or what have you, I guess I'm trying to mentally picture this bracket and think of teams that I would basically the teams that I would want to avoid. If you're at least an 8 or better, you're playing on Thursday. What would they be welcoming the winner of the 9-15?
9-16. So if they're the 8, it'd be the winner of the 9-16. So if we're saying Texas wins against Oklahoma and everything else goes to the way it should be, Mizzou ends up being the 8. That would mean they play the winner of Vandy and South Carolina.
Yeah. Good grief. Yeah, Vandy would be the 9, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, that doesn't bother me that much. Vandy would be considered, if you lose to them, it's like, that's okay. I think they would be beatable. It is in Nashville, so I guess consider that. But I don't know. I think a lot of SEC fans travel, and it's just the building will be the energy that it is that day. But I don't mind that at all. You move a little bit deeper. Let's say you're the 7, and you're talking about a 10 seed at that point. You know, I don't know the tiebreakers between all these other teams.
So there's a scenario where there's 7, and it's if everything else held, but you switch and Oklahoma beats Texas. That is one way that they can get the 7. In that case, Mizzou would be playing either Texas or LSU.
Yeah. And like there is a world in which Georgia loses to Mississippi State, and now but like LSU, obviously if LSU wins, almost no matter what, the South Carolinas, the LSU, I would say it might be better to be a little bit higher, like a 7, because I think there's a better chance that an LSU upsets somebody than South Carolina does. It's still probably pretty unlikely, but that would be the ultimate gift. If like you can rise up enough to where you're playing Ole Miss or LSU or something like that because they upset someone and now you get them. I don't fear a team like that on Thursday that had to probably spend a lot of energy to shock somebody on Wednesday. Yeah. So I would be fine with playing one of those teams. Would it be like a still kind of risk of a quad 2-ish type of loss? Yeah. And so maybe your thought is, hey, be the 8 because Vanderbilt's gonna whoop South Carolina, and that loss to Vandy doesn't matter.
I'm not worried about that. If I'm being honest, if LSU beats a Texas and then LSU goes to face a Mizzou, I think LSU has expended enough energy and have to turn it around in another day to try and beat a team that's technically better. Like I don't think they're gonna be up for that. So
I don't fear that either.
I think Mizzou would be fine in that scenario, although losing it would make you really sweat out Selection Sunday.
Here's a question. I guess you're right about that, Andy. If there's a quad 2 loss introduced, like we'd be puckered. Here's the thing that maybe we haven't talked about in the context of like the chalk holding, because it's involving 2 teams that aren't playing for anything. But if South Carolina beats Ole Miss, they finish with the same record. Have they played yet this year? And what would that tie break be? If they haven't, South Carolina would no longer be last place. Like you're talking about 3-14 versus
that would mean that
4-13.
South Carolina would move up to the 14 in that scenario, and LSU would be the 16.
Yeah, so that would be, honestly, I don't know what you root for in that, but I
don't think it matters. Like I think you're facing a pretty similar team either way, which we'll talk about in tiers coming up at 5:05.
Yeah, no kidding with that. My thought is like, I don't think, maybe I'm not being fair. I don't think South Carolina can beat anybody to start that tournament, Missouri included, if it should come to that. I do think on accident Ole Miss or LSU could catch somebody playing their C- game and beat them once. And so that's where I'm kind of like, well, I am kind of curious what happens with South Carolina and Ole Miss there on Saturday. But it's probably of the whatever 8 conference games that we're looking at, it's 8th out of 8 on the interest list, I'm sure.
Well, yeah, they're much more impactful ones. Like Kentucky and Florida will impact Mizzou if they lose.
Yeah.
Same thing with, again, Texas, Oklahoma.
Dude, I have a
LSU.
bad feeling about that game, by the way. Kentucky, Florida. Obviously, you're rooting for Kentucky to lose because
I think so.
that's a team that you are tied record-wise with, and if they lose, you can lose, but you still notch ahead of them no matter what. And I guess technically not no matter what, because I don't know if there was a 5-way tie with Georgia, Texas,
it would have to be.
Vanderbilt,
We'd have to go through the whole simulation again. But
so no, I think we get to picks of the week tomorrow. I want to look at that Kentucky spread, but I might just have to fall on the sword of like, I know Florida's killing everybody, but that's the one that could trip us up if we're expecting, oh yeah, Florida take care of business, and then they don't, and then we're kind of panicking. But I don't know. I think it's going to be okay. I think Missouri has a better than equal chance to do it. Like, it's going to be a fight against Arkansas. If you go and lose by double digits at home to this Arkansas team at home, I think I'm disappointed in that. But I think they'll at least show up for the game. Will I predict a win? I don't know. We kind of got messed up on
method.
That,
the method got you
us.
last time.
Method failed us for sure.
Yeah, big time
Tuesday.
in Norman. It doesn't translate in Norman. Different type of.
It's like a different world out there.
Different mechanism. Call or text us here at 875-KTGR here on The Big Show. What SEC seed would you want Mizzou to get in the conference tournament coming up next week? Of course, Mizzou women's basketball bowed out this week, last night, in the conference tournament. Again, I just thought their draw was tough. Alabama is a team that is firmly in the NCAA tournament field, and if Mizzou had dropped down to the 15, I think they would have gotten a better draw with A&M, a team that they have beaten this year. So it's a little unfortunate with that. They fought hard towards the end of the third quarter. They were only down 4, but then the fourth quarter ran out of steam. I think this, like 16-16, 4-12 in conference play, it is a step forward. Wasn't going to take much to have a step forward from the past couple of years, but I think we still acknowledge it as a step forward while also saying, man, that was really tough down the stretch to see the way that it happened. I think it would sound kind of ridiculous, but I think it's a good thing for Mizzou women's basketball that they have something like potentially the WBIT available to them. There's a WNIT and also this newish tournament. I think they've only done it a few years now, WBIT, that has another 32-team field, and it's basically below the WNIT. Mizzou is kind of waiting to see if they'll get invited to that. We won't know until the actual selection Sunday in a week and a half.
Okay.
But more games for this team, I think, could be helpful to them, to help with Kelly Harper and everything, and kind of wash away some of the stink of, like, yeah, you lost 7 straight to close the year. You want to try and face a more like team to.
Yeah, look who you played.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's so many ranked teams to deal with. And so having someone that's a little closer to your stature that you can play in a postseason format, I think that can be helpful. So I would say Mizzou fans hope for that. If you're wanting this women's basketball team to finish on a high note, that'll be your chance to do that. And
yeah, get that experience of postseason play, I think would be, if it's something they can get, I think that's great.
So we'll wait to see if Mizzou women's basketball does get invited to the WBIT, and we'll wait that here on the Big Show, KTGR, and the KTGR app. In the meantime, we'll talk more on the men's side with Drew King of PowerMizzou.com, his thoughts on how the Tigers fared in Norman, what it means for what could happen at Mizzou Arena against Arkansas Saturday. We'll talk some Mizzou hoops with Drew King of PowerMizzou.com next on the Big Show.
The best subscriptions in life are free. Subscribe to KTGR on YouTube to watch The Big Show and other exclusive content. YouTube.com/@KTGR Sports.
Hi, we're Midway Electric. And since you've got a nice large tax return this year, you've got the ability to put it towards something that lasts, like updating your bathroom with modern light fixtures or new kitchen lighting that pops. And Midway Electric is the team of pros you can trust to bring those dreams to life. From custom lighting to complete electrical upgrades, Midway Electric helps transform the spaces you use every day. Midway Electric, powered by people with pride. MidwayElectricInc.com.
Brian Ware Plumbing and Restoration has answered a lot of your calls over the years, and you've helped him grow his business immensely. So he wanted to take a second to say thank you. Oof, that was pretty emotional. We couldn't have said it better ourselves. So keep calling Brian to unplug your plumbing problems. BrianWarePlumbing.com.
Generating marketing strategy.
Calculating synergy. No thanks. At Fuse 32, your brand isn't built by code. It's built by creatives. Real humans who listen, question, and push boundaries. We don't hide behind fancy dashboards or chase meaningless clicks. We bring you transparent, bold ideas and return on investment you can actually see and track, because your story and your brand deserves more than an algorithm you can't even meet. Fuse 32. There's nothing we can't do. Fuse32.com.
Did you know GoodRx can help you save on medication, manage prescriptions, and get trusted health information? If you're one of the millions living with a heart condition, check GoodRx for an easier, more affordable way to manage your health. GoodRx offers common heart medications for under $30. Just search for your prescription, find the best price, then show your pharmacist the GoodRx coupon. And it works whether you have insurance or not. To start saving and better manage your heart health, download the free app or visit GoodRx.com today. GoodRx is not insurance but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
Winter is in full swing, and Aleve is here to keep you moving. When the cold weather sets in, everyday aches and pains can linger, but Aleve's got your back. With up to 12 hours of body pain relief per dose, Aleve keeps you going with long-lasting body pain relief to get you through whatever the season brings. Chilly days or cozy nights, Aleve gives you that long-lasting body pain relief you can count on this winter. Try Aleve. Use as directed for minor aches and pains.
Back to more of the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. You've got The Big Show on the KTGR app.
So we'll see what happens Saturday for Mizzou men's basketball. Big one against Arkansas to close the regular season. As we talk about it here on The Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app. Andy and Brendan here, and here to talk some Mizzou hoops with us is Drew King of PowerMizzou.com. Covers all things Mizzou hoops for them. You can find him on Twitter at DrewKing0222_ and subscribe to PowerMizzou.com to see their great stuff. Drew is on his way back from Oklahoma covering that game where, Drew, it seemed like a much different type of team that we had seen from Mizzou the last few games or so. I just wonder how it kind of struck you maybe at all by surprise in that one.
Yeah, I think it was just a lack of urgency, in my opinion. You know, Oklahoma, it was their senior night, first of all, so, emotions are already a little bit higher for them. But on top of that, like, they've been playing some of their best basketball and some of the best basketball in the conference these last couple of weeks. And so I've kind of been of the opinion for a while that they're a team that's better than their record, and they've been coming out to prove it. They kind of still think that they've got an outside shot of sneaking into the tournament if they can go out on a run late in the season here. And so they went into that game fully motivated to go up against Missouri. I don't know that Missouri went into it with the same kind of motivation, and I think that really showed on the court.
Drew, how much do you feel like a loss like that can kind of hurt where Missouri is standing with respect to the NCAA tournament? Because it feels like for a long while we said, hey, chase that 10th win. They got that. Still Arkansas plus the SEC tournament in Nashville pending. How do you feel right now about their current standing in terms of relation to the bracket? Excuse me.
Yeah, so I think going into that game, there was a path for Missouri to kind of climb up to at least a 7 seed, right? And then if you go on a really big run in the SEC tournament, maybe you get all the way up to a 6 seed. I don't think that that's really in the cards for them now, though. And so I think most bracket projections have them around the 10 seed, and you've got at least 2 more games before Selection Sunday, and you lose both of them, you might be talking about going to Dayton again, which I don't think anybody really wants. So, yeah, they kind of settled after picking up that 10th win, and I have a hard time seeing them missing out on March Madness, even after this past loss. But I think that there's still a lot left to be played for in these last couple of games, for sure.
Drew King of PowerMizzou.com here on the Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app. Yeah, and it certainly seems that there could be a lot of different machinations with where they finish in the conference tournament. Obviously, they're going for a win, and it would mean that they're no lower than 5. But if they're, falling beneath that because they lose, which, I mean, they're going to be, underdogs in the game against Arkansas anyway. And so if they do, in fact, lose that game, you're obviously wanting to avoid Wednesday, Drew, but what other seed do you maybe look to see? Well, if they can maybe be there, it maybe is a little more advantageous than in this spot.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that one more time?
No, you're good.
My GPS was talking to me at the same time.
No, that's all good. In the event Mizzou loses and they're maybe having to scoreboard watch the rest of Saturday to see what those other results mean for their seeding. Obviously, they want to avoid Wednesday, but is there a seed that maybe they're hoping that they slot into and is more advantageous for them to not only get a bigger win, but also maybe avoid a bad loss?
Yeah, that's a good question. So a 4 seed isn't out of the question for them right now, which would get them a double bye in the tournament, let them start on Friday, drops them off into the quarterfinals. But right now you're reliant on Vanderbilt beating Tennessee because Tennessee's one game ahead of Missouri in the standings. So you don't really control your destiny on that front. On the flip side of it, like you look at the teams that are in the second round right now, I don't know that you want to be in the part of the bracket with Oklahoma after that last game. But on top of that, like, I don't know that it'll matter too much. Like, I guess they're in a whole lot of drawbacks to losing to the tournament unless you lose this next game against Arkansas. So, yeah, I don't know that it makes a huge difference 5 through 8, but the main thing you do want to do is avoid playing in that second round where you're kind of the only one that loses this Saturday and everybody else wins, and that drops you to a 10 seed. That's mainly the goal for them right now.
Yeah, don't want to have to play that extra game for sure. Drew, let's talk about the players, because I don't think there would be one player on the court that you would identify from Tuesday and say, well, this guy was the problem. It was maybe the energy across the board. But if you're looking for one player to really step it up compared to what we just saw and maybe give the Tigers a spark Saturday, is there somebody in particular you're looking for to have a good game against the Hogs if they're going to be able to pull this off?
Yeah, I think it's been not necessarily like a horrible couple of games from Jaden Stone, but it definitely seems like he's taken a step back a little bit. And he's talked about how, this is his first time on a high major team. He's never been in a conference where every single team is fighting for an NCAA tournament spot and kind of the pressure that every game brings. This is his first time experiencing all that. And so I don't necessarily think him hitting a wall is a bad thing, but the timing of it obviously isn't ideal for him. And so if there's anyone that Mizzou could really use a return to form from, I think it's Jaden Stone. He just hadn't been quite as confident in his shot lately. I feel like he's been passing up some good looks from outside. So that's somebody who I think that they could really use a bounce back from.
Drew King at PowerMizzou.com here on the Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app. Drew, what have you made of how Trent Burns has kind of made himself a factor in the rotation, and very clearly now he's part of it, getting a healthy amount of minutes off the bench, spelling Sean Phillips in that sense? How have you kind of made of it yourself when you watch him out there, and what's different maybe with the sporadic times that he was out there earlier in the year?
I think he's just playing with so much more confidence now, and he's playing up to his size too. Earlier in the season, you would see him get pushed around by other bigs in the conference or other teams outside of the conference. So I think that Trent has really come into his own now. He's understanding like the physicality that it takes to compete in this league, and he's using his length to his advantage. Like we all saw the baby hooks that he was getting off against Mississippi State. We know he can make a difference rebounding wise. And then, like, on defense, you see a lot of guards drive into the paint, see him standing between hit them in the basket, and they'll turn around 180 degrees, go the other way. So, I think that Trent's emergence as a real option off the bench does a lot of things for Missouri. It takes pressure off of Sean Phillips. It keeps both guys fresh, and it gives them a consistent presence in the paint. And I think that really raises both the floor and the ceiling for the team moving forward.
How do you view this dynamic for them coming into this game against Arkansas? Clearly, I mean, it would mean a quality win and everything like that. It's senior day for themselves. It's an earlier game. It's sold out. But just the aspect of Mizzou's motivation going into it, and maybe Arkansas's at this point, since they might be kind of locked pretty much into a couple of different seeds that maybe don't have much difference between each other. How do you kind of view the matchup from that angle with how both teams will approach it this Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, Arkansas is fighting for positioning both in the SEC and the NCAA tournament, just like Missouri is, right? So I don't think that they're going to lack for motivation. But with Missouri, you mentioned it's senior day. You obviously want to go out with a win. On top of that, too, this team has been pretty good about bouncing back from losses all season long. I think they've only dropped back-to-back games once in SEC play so far, and that was like LSU and Georgia. So it's been a while. And so that's kind of what I'll be looking for in this one is what's the response after you lay an egg like you did at Oklahoma. And I think that'll be kind of telling where the team's head is at heading into the postseason. But yeah, I think that there's a whole lot at stake in this regular season finale.
Drew, I got to know if you think the Antlers will be honoring Trevin Brazile on senior day.
Probably so, right? I mean, why not?
Why wouldn't they? It would be rude not to. I mean, come on. Yeah. They've got to have something planned, no doubt. We'll see. But, oh, man. Okay, so through all that, do you have a prediction for Saturday?
Oh, man. I haven't looked too far into it yet. I will say, like, Mizzou's been electric at home the past 2 years. I think they've only lost twice. And I thought that they competed really well with Arkansas on the road and just didn't get a couple of calls that they needed to get to the free throw line as much as they needed to. So I kind of lean Missouri, but I'll look into how Arkansas's played in these last couple of games a little bit more. But that's my preliminary prediction.
Well, they're certainly tough, and no matter where they've played, they have been able to put up huge fights, and we'll see if Mizzou is up for it. Drew, what's new over at PowerMizzou.com?
Yeah, so if you want to know how my trip to Oklahoma went, you can go read my column at PowerMizzou.com. We've got 50% off of our annual subscription right now, which will get you all the way through March Madness and then the transfer portal after that. So definitely a good time to sign up right now. And then, yeah, y'all can follow me on Twitter at DrewKing0222_.
I bet Drew can make trips to Oklahoma a lot more interesting than they sound. So, yes, go and check it out over at PowerMizzou.com and check out his great Mizzou coverage as well from the whole team over at Power Mizzou. Great to have him here on the Big Show, KTGR. Drew, thanks for taking time out of your drive to talk with us today. Hope you're well. We'll talk again soon.
Sounds good. Thanks, y'all.
You bet. It is 4:40 here on the Big Show, KTGR, and the KTGR app. He was like, I think, driving through or from Oklahoma at that point, and that is not an enviable one. Yeah, you and I both know.
I have. I've done that. We both done that. The like down from Texas stretch up to, the Columbia, the Mid Missouri, up toward St. Louis. In my case, trip. And I've got one speeding ticket in Oklahoma before.
Oh, me too. Life.
It's what I love about it, though, is there's no pretense. They bribe you and say, here's what it costs. Like, this is like to call this a nothing. Here's what it costs. Here's what you pay. No lawyer, no nothing, no points. They just say, we know what this is. Here's the bribe.
Go ahead.
Take it or leave it.
Oh, boy. Yeah, I remember that. That's like the only one that I've ever gotten. And
The only ticket you've ever gotten was in Oklahoma?
Speeding ticket. That's for sure.
Wow.
I mean, you've probably given me a parking ticket before, but
I didn't. I have admitted on these airwaves that I basically went back to our apartment and slept during my shift as a parking enforcer at Mizzou. So for everybody who said, "Oh my gosh, you gave out parking tickets," barely. I gave out just enough not to get fired. I didn't even like what I was doing, but it was a job. And boy, did I ever get my steps in back in those days.
That must have been, for sure.
I mean, relative to this job, I don't get any steps in during this job. So I'm just saying, I mean, it was a pretty good deal there. But no, it's funny you say that. I've gotten 2 speeding tickets ever. One, Metropolis, Illinois, on the way to Nashville to cover Mizzou in what I believe was the NCAA tournament that year when they lost to Florida State. Dennis Gates was there. And on the Florida State bench.
Right.
And I got one in Oklahoma. So I'd never gotten a speeding ticket in Missouri. Now I'll get one tomorrow. But it's funny, those 2 states, they were like, we know how to do the bribe to where, like, I think for Illinois, they said, don't get another ticket in this county. You're on probation for like 2 years. It's like, I'm not even going to be in that county. So I think I'm okay.
Yeah, I'm just going to drive away and never come back.
But Oklahoma's like, here's what it costs.
Okay.
It's no pretense,
same,
no nothing.
same.
We're going to bribe. It's a bribe.
Yeah.
I'm like, I will pay the bribe.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Done.
I'll be on my way.
Yep.
Appreciate
and I
you.
was.
875-KTGR. Give us a call or a text. Okay.
She got me with an electronic bridge, if I'm recalling.
Oh.
They fire the radar from the bridge, so you don't even get to see the person that. And the officer, she was really nice. She said, I'm going to write you for 79 because that's a substantial difference if you were compared to if you were like 15 over. So
that's
the speed limits change fast in Oklahoma. That's why you get those tickets.
That's the thing.
Because bang,
got me.
It goes from 70 to 35 within about half a mile.
Right as you're mine was right as I was crossing from Texas into Oklahoma, and from that point it is.
And Texas has no laws.
So it's
no speed limits.
I'll just write 90 on there eventually.
Dude, there was legitimately, when I lived in the Austin area, there was like a toll road that you would take to get to the airport, basically in Austin. 85 was the speed limit. I had never seen that in my life.
You'd never seen it? Oh yeah, I had driven one. That's the stretch, I believe. I'm pretty sure it's 85 now. From El Paso to like San Antonio, which I have driven, and that is.
There's nothing there though. You better make that 95.
You better go 85 so you can get the heck out of there. Right?
I've never seen that. I'm like, I really did just move to Texas, didn't I? Like, this is crazy. 85. Now we're living.
That's right. 75-KTGR. Give us a call or a text. Under the bus coming up next. Colton Parayko said, you can't trade me.
Andy was right.
I'm staying right here. That's next.
Now, your local sports center update on your total sports station, KTGR.
Good afternoon. I'm Andy Humphrey. This Sports Center update is with Lee's Tire Company. If it's round and rubber, Lee's sells it. Go to leestirecompany.com. Mizzou women's basketball had a short stay in the SEC tournament in Greenville, South Carolina this week. Tigers lost to the 11 seed Alabama last night, 65-48. Double-double for Grace Slaughter. Jordana Reisma led with 15 points, but not enough for the Tigers as they fall to 16-16 overall. They are awaiting a potential invitation to a postseason tournament, which could come in a week and a half. It could most likely be from the WBIT tournament. Meanwhile, Mizzou's NIL marketing agency, Every True Tiger Brands, announced today that Mario Mocha will take over as their new CEO. Mocha is a former Mizzou athletics administrator. Between 1998 and 2006, he was the deputy athletics director. Most recently, he served as the AD at New Mexico State for 10 years. Before that, he was the AD at Southern Illinois Carbondale. And tonight, Mizzou baseball begins a 4-game set against UIC at home. Tigers are 10-2 on an 8-game winning streak at the moment. First pitch for tonight's game at 6 o'clock. You can hear it on the KTGR app. Now your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast.
I'm tracking drier conditions tonight through most of tomorrow with some scattered showers and storms still possible in western Missouri. There's some uncertainty on how long that lingers tomorrow, but we are still expecting severe storms to develop by late Friday afternoon into the evening, past 5 to 6 p.m. in western Missouri, with a line of thunderstorms moving in later in the night. All severe hazards are possible, including a few tornadoes. I'm meteorologist Nate Splater, and that's your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast on your total sports station, KTGR.
Midway Electric presents the High School Sports Power Play of the Week.
Still cut off by Kemp, picks up the dribble. Stockman handling now right side. Stockman throws it away. Crump the steal for Battle, and then he jams it down with two hands. Energy play from Jayon Crump off the bench. Battle cuts it to 2 again.
That's the Power Play of the Week with Midway Electric, powered by people with pride. MidwayElectricInc.com.
As we get into the heart of basketball season, 1851 Underground Tap and Grill wants to remind you, whether you need a place to grab a bite after a local high school or college game, or you want to plop down with some friends and watch some of that college conference action on TV, they've got a spot for you. Your favorite cold beer or cocktail and delicious appetizer or dinner options on the menu. Check them out on Facebook or at 1851underground.com. It's no secret that it is underground. 1851 Underground Tap and Grill in the historic Brick District, downtown Fulton.
Guys, our day is coming. The 2026 Como Man Show. Saturday, March 14th at the Northeast Event Center where the Boone County Fair is held. Sports, tractors, cars, and a whole lot more of everything that makes you proud to be a man. Food and drink? Oh yeah. Mid-Missouri's Best will be there too, with a portion of the proceeds going to a local nonprofit. Tickets on sale now, so grab yours at ComoManShow.com, and we'll see you there. Saturday, March 14th at the Northeast Event Center.
KTGR and MU Healthcare Sports Medicine are highlighting a local athlete each week. It's the KTGR Athlete Spotlight.
This week features Hickman wrestlers Jordan Fincher and Luke Hayden, who both won individual state titles at the Class 4 Wrestling Championships at 165 and 175. The wins helped Hickman Boys Wrestling finish second in the team standings.
That's the KTGR Athlete Spotlight, thanks to MU Healthcare Sports Medicine, providing everything athletes need to be and stay at their best, because they're competitors too.
You could be right in the middle of celebrating a big win, and all of a sudden, bang, you've got ants on the counter or mice in the garage. Hi, I'm Mike Kelly. As someone who's called buzzer beaters and game winners for 3 decades, I think the best call that you can make is to Steve's Pest Control. I'm on the road a lot during the season, which is why I've signed up for Steve's 5-star pest control program. It's comforting to know that even when I'm not home, Steve's Pest Control is protecting my house from termites and other pests. Plus, the 5-star program keeps the pests at bay, controlling and eliminating them before they have a chance to enter your home. Scheduling is incredibly easy. You don't even have to be home. And if a pest problem pops up at any time, Steve's will perform a retreat for no additional charge. Call Steve's Pest Control today and ask about their 5-star pest control program so you can kick back, relax, and enjoy the game.
Hi, I'm Steve with Steve's Pest Control. We're going to solve your pest problem. I guarantee it.
Now you got a friend in the pest control business. Steve's Pest Control.
The best thing about spring is that there's no single best thing about spring. It's all good. Golfing,
Peeing off the deck.
grilling,
Peeing off the deck.
you can do everything outside again.
Peeing off the deck.
Practice your aim at cornhole and peeing off your crutch's deck. You don't want to hit those railing posts. All the beauty and fun of spring just go better with Crutch's custom exteriors. True beauty is on the outside. See what they can do for you at CrutchesCustomExteriors.com.
My name is Taylor, and I have had insurance with Phyllis Nichols and her team for over 9 years. A auto claim came when my wife was rear-ended. Everyone was safe, but that left a lot of cosmetic damage on her brand new car. We called Phyllis, said, hey, this is what happened, and she's made it a very streamlined process. Phyllis lined out our rental car and made everything just so easy. And having 3 kids and losing a vehicle is a big deal, but Phyllis went to bat for us, got everything lined out, and made it a very easy process.
They can't shoot it straight on the golf course, but they can shoot straight on the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. Back to Andy and Brendan on The Big Show on KTGR.
So the Blues reportedly had a deal in place for Colton Parayko to go to Buffalo and for a first-round pick and a guy whose name I won't try to pronounce again.
Never have to
I don't have to anymore. Look at that.
That's why he wouldn't waive it.
Yeah, because I butchered the guy's
other
name
guy.
that was going to take Colton Parayko's place, apparently. I don't know.
I don't even care.
Yeah. He's like, you know what? I'll show you. I'm just going to invoke my no trade clause that Doug Armstrong just loves giving out.
He does.
Everybody gets one. Man.
And I got a mea culpa because I read this yesterday and thought it was done because it was being talked about. It gets leaked out before he approves it. A lot of times we don't really see that from other sports as much. And so maybe that's what threw me for a loop, Andy. But you were right, because yesterday you kept saying, I think he still has to approve it. And I'm like, I don't know. They said it was real. So I didn't get Biff Buffers. I just didn't look as closely as I should have at that. But that's kind of a bummer for the Blues, as much as I lamented, sad to see him go yesterday. Now when you're getting a first-round pick, like, this is a team that's stuck right now, and they really could have used that pick. So kind of a bummer from the Blues standpoint. I'm sure Doug Armstrong is peeved. Reportedly, Parayko would prefer to go to the West Coast. Maybe you get him there, but do you get a first-round pick out of one of those teams? That's the rub of it, Andy. That's tough.
That is tough. And the Blues now having to figure out where they pivot. Like, you probably can't trade Parayko at the deadline now, and you probably have to trade somebody else that you didn't want to trade. Get something.
It's going to be a bad look for Armstrong, not his fault, but it's going to be a bad look if they trade him to, one of those West Coast teams for a second rounder.
Yeah.
And then everybody knows that you could have gotten a first rounder if the player would have cooperated. If they had this deal done and the extra first rounder in hand, then they, I think, could be more aggressive in saying, let's ship off Thomas and get a first or more for him as well. And now it's like, what do you do? Because you're 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
Man, that is tough for Doug Armstrong, who's in his last trade deadline, right?
Yeah, it's not the same as when the Cardinals had a Pobo. He's going to be the Poho, the president of hockey operations. That Andy laughs every time I say that. And Alexander Steen is going to be the GM, but when the Cardinals did that, Mike Gersh never was.
He was never doing anything.
Decision maker. So
yeah.
I don't really know. From what I hear, I've asked people in the know, and they're like, I don't know. I think it's going to be different, but I guess we'll all kind of see. The worst part of it, they can't even trade him to Arizona when he reconsiders next year. They don't even have that option. That's a Nolan Arenado joke.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I've seen this happen before in St. Louis.
There's no Arizona to trade him to.
Trade
him to Utah.
Outgoing Pobos or whatever it is. Also, under the bus, too, well, unfortunately, Kim English, reportedly going to be let go by Providence at the end of the season, as reported by Adam Zagoria earlier last night, I believe. It's been a tough year for Providence and for Kim English. I think they started kind of well. Kim was looking great at George Mason and got them going, and it made Mizzou fans get him. Go on, bring him home. I want Kim to really succeed as a head coach somewhere. It just wasn't going to happen right away. There are going to be bumps in the road. We'll see how he is able to respond. He'll probably go back to the assistant role somewhere, but he can be an assistant at a Power 4 school today. If
he can be an assistant here if he wants. Wouldn't that be cool? Not that I don't know if there's going to be openings, but wouldn't you love to have him back? Interesting for sure. There are a lot of Providence fans, by the way, who think they're getting Josh Schertz from St. Louis.
Okay.
I was at their senior night last night. No, they're not. I don't think he's going anywhere. It was
you think he's not going at all?
No, dude, he's not leaving. I don't think Josh Schertz
I think he'll
anywhere.
get a better job than Providence.
You think he's gone this cycle, though?
Yeah.
I think he's staying right where he is.
All right. We'll see. But,
we'll see.
Yeah, unfortunate for Kim English, unfortunate for Providence, but I think Kim will find another way back
on his feet
to be an assistant and then probably a head coach again someday. We'll see. I'll tell you, this is pretty sweet. The Luther Burden stock just went up with the DJ Moore trade. He goes to Buffalo. Buffalo's kind of pushing a lot of chips in, and they kind of have to. I think a very good trade for the Bears because they got some young receivers that they want to try and have be the showcase.
It's an awesome trade for the Bears because they got a second-round pick out of the deal. I believe they gave a fifth and DJ Moore. it's a trade for the Bills that they had to make a trade like this trade. Giving up a second rounder for DJ Moore is a choice.
Yeah.
But I like it as a Josh Allen fan because they did give him something more to work with than what he had, which was, well, Deion Coleman, who basically got everybody fired for even existing.
Yeah.
So I like it way more. I love it for the Bears, and I obviously love it for Luther Burden because this does open the door for him to be, him and Rome Odunze. It's their show, and Luther might even be a better player than Odunze. So I'm pumped about it.
He is. He will out-touch Odunze this year.
The Bears are going to they handled this offseason right. They're going to be real special this year. They might already be ascending to an NFC that's tricky. I mean, you got some good teams in that league, but I think they're going to be in good shape.
Good trade by the Bears. I mean, it seemed like the Bills needed to do something of the ilk, but I don't know how much I like it from their financial and resources standpoint. We'll see. Up next, SEC basketball tiers. Will update them, and I feel vindicated with how the last week has gone for how my tiers have looked and will continue to look in this latest iteration. We'll get to that next here on The Big Show.
Did you know GoodRx can help you save on medication, manage prescriptions, and get trusted health information? If you're one of the millions living with a heart condition, check GoodRx for an easier, more affordable way to manage your health. GoodRx offers common heart medications for under $30. Just search for your prescription, find the best price, then show your pharmacist the GoodRx coupon. And it works whether you have insurance or not. To start saving and better manage your heart health, download the free app or visit GoodRx.com today. GoodRx is not insurance but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
Winter is in full swing, and Aleve is here to keep you moving. When the cold weather sets in, everyday aches and pains can linger, but Aleve's got your back. With up to 12 hours of body pain relief per dose, Aleve keeps you going with long-lasting body pain relief to get you through whatever the season brings. Chilly days or cozy nights, Aleve gives you that long-lasting body pain relief you can count on this winter. Try Aleve. Use as directed for minor aches and pains.
Step into a real-life snow globe with Simmer Communications and Colette Travel on this 9-day European vacation. Stroll Prague, Dresden, Vienna, and Budapest. From castles and cathedrals to twinkling market stalls. Sip warm Glühwein, shop handcrafted gifts, and even visit a family-run candy workshop. Learn more by joining us in Colette Travel Tuesday, March 17th at 5:30 at Courtyard Marriott Columbia on Lamone Industrial Boulevard. RSVP today at simmercommunications.com.
Hey, construction dude, congrats on the killer contract in Cape. Sweet. So, how are you going to get that Mongo crane down to the job site? Here's a haul of an idea. Just Google I-70 Towing. They're Mid-Missouri's go-to crew for heavy equipment hauling, too. Semis, dozers, RVs, goosenecks, farm and construction stuff, school buses, boats, bring it. If you use it, they can move it. Call the team they think you'll really love to meet. I70towing.com. Goosenecks. Give me some long necks.
KTGR AM Columbia, KTGR FM Fulton Columbia, K286CL Columbia, in Missouri's total sports station. KTGR.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Jason Tatum's ready to return to the Celtics lineup. ESPN's Shams Charania reports the star forward's expected to make his season debut tomorrow versus the Mavericks, less than 10 months after tearing his Achilles. Led by fellow All-Star Jaylen Brown, Boston has been among the NBA's best, and that allows Tatum to take his time building himself back up, explains ESPN's Chiney Agwumike.
It's not like you have to come back in the playoffs when all the lights are on you. You still have 19 games left of the regular season while feeling confident in yourself, also knowing, I know his expectation is probably like, I'm going to be that guy. It might take some time. It might take 10 or so games, but the fact that he can ease his way into greatness at a point where his team is second in the East, I love this for him.
Mavs Celtics tomorrow, 7 Eastern ESPN. Dallas rookie Cooper Flagg will return from a left midfoot sprain tonight in Orlando. He's been out the last 8 games. After a lack of consistency at receiver throughout the 2025 NFL season, Bills addressed that need, agreed to a trade to acquire receiver DJ Moore from the Bears for a second-round pick in next month's draft.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive Commercial Insurance flexes to fit your business's needs. From quick repairs to adjustable coverages and even payment options, Progressive Commercial makes it easy to get what you need. Quote today in as little as 8 minutes at progressivecommercial.com.
From Faro. 15 to the 10, to the house. Bush. Back to the wall. And it's got her. And Arrowhead. Touchdown! Kansas City. To your speakers. This is the big show, baby. Get fresh takes on the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. Right now, this is the Big Show with Andy and Brendan on KTGR.
We've got an updated SEC basketball tiers coming your way. And I still am not changing mine at the top because I feel like the results have just kind of played out the way that I sort of expected them to, with the way things have been happening here. So we're going to get to that. We'll find out where we put Mizzou, obviously, in this tier break here on the Big Show, KTGR, and the KTGR app. You can text in yours at 875-KTGR and tell us where we're right or wrong. We're going to talk Chiefs. Who is the first free agent that they will sign? We'll make our predictions for that at 5:25 here on the Big Show. But first, it's 5 o'clock.
It's time for the top 5 at 5 on the Big Show. Number 1.
If you want to trade away for curtain number 1, you can have curtain 1.
Which seed do we want for the Tigers in the SEC tournament, which takes place beginning next Wednesday in Nashville, Tennessee? Always love that event. I think it's a loaded question because there's a lot of unknowns surrounding each of the potential permutations. They'll all play out on Saturday with the entire league in action for the season finale, the regular season finale, that is. Really, my answer is not the 9, not the 10. Beyond that, I really don't care. I am almost okay with it if the Tigers don't land the double bye, because then you get an opportunity to maybe have a game on Thursday that could pad your resume a little bit, might be even a quad one, depending on who you face. And I think it gets them into the swing of it a little bit more. But obviously, double bye is great. Just please avoid Wednesday. That's the only way I really see them falling out of the NCAA tournament field, or at least into Dayton if they should lose early in the SEC tournament.
Number 2.
Number 2, your timing is impeccable.
Yeah, Mizzou women's basketball came to an unceremonious end at the SEC tournament last night. 65-48, the loss to Alabama, who was the 11th seed, but like a team that had been ranked until just last week and is certainly not sweating whether they'll be in the NCAA tournament field on Selection Sunday. Not many other conferences, if any, can say that about their 11th seed. So unceremonious end of the season for Kelly Harper's team, unless there's a bid to something like the WIT, which I think would be good. The WBIT postseason tournament get you some experience. If they can get that type of bid, I say you take it.
Number 3.
There's Jordan for 3. Yes!
Well, mea culpa, I misspoke on yesterday's show about what I thought had been a done deal for Colton Parayko being traded to the Sabres. The trade was leaked out before it was approved by Parayko. He had a no-trade clause to waive, and in his truest Nolan Arenado form, he decided against waiving it. So he'll stick with the Blues, and now with the trade deadline looming tomorrow, I think Doug Armstrong is in a world of trouble. He doesn't probably know whether to be 1 foot in or 1 foot out on this sellout and rebuild.
Number 4.
Oh, shanked it.
The Bears might have just unlocked Luther Burden and hauled in a quality piece of draft ammo in the process. DJ Moore traded to the Bills, which I like for Josh Allen, by the way. But the Bears giving up a 5th rounder and getting a 2nd rounder back. That's a great deal for the Bears and a great sign for Luther Burden's usage.
Number 5.
What did the 5 fingers say to the face? Slap!
Mizzou found the replacement for the CEO of its NIL agency after Brad Lorondo left to go to Washington State. The new man for the job is Mario Mocha, who served as Mizzou's deputy AD from 98 to 06, and he was an AD for 10 years.
That's the Big Show's top 5 at 5 on KTGR.
875-KTGR if you want to call or text us here. Yeah, that was notable. Another Alden disciple back in the building.
Coming back.
Obviously worked with Laird Beach and in that same kind of time frame. And so
right,
you bring him back in since he's available. Now, he was at New Mexico State for 10 years. Before that,
as their AD.
As their AD. Southern Illinois, Carbondale before that as the AD. There was a bit of an unceremonious exit for him from New Mexico State, obviously, because they had that, remember that hazing scandal with the
Right.
men's basketball team. That was a whole huge deal. I think they were like
Sure.
banned from the postseason, everything like that. And then they went into the investigation a little bit further. I don't know how many people, obviously, I'm sure multiple people lost their jobs. It seemed that Mochia was one of them that did.
Right.
I think in this case, though, like you're asking him to be the NIL marketing guy, right?
Handle the money,
manage
Isn't that
the
what
money.
we're talking about?
Yeah,
manage it and acquire more of it.
Exactly. Yeah. So he's
Wheel and deal.
He fills into that role, and I think he fits that role pretty well. I think it kind of fits more of what he was doing at Mizzou when he was coming up with Mike Alden. So like that's
Although this was not a position that existed.
No, it wasn't.
Last time
No.
he was at Mizzou, but it's
Right.
kind of funny that he's probably a fit for it with his background. But yeah, worth mentioning that the New Mexico State stuff that had sort of slipped my mind, but was kind of in timeline with that. Yeah, that's not his role here. I think when you have those kind of deals, there's this notion of like who should have known what when, and when you're at the top of the food chain, the responsibility does fall on you. Is what it is with that. Different role here, and hopefully one where that can continue to be a successful. I just remember Drinkwitz. There was like somebody tweeted something about Brad Larondo leaving or whatever, and he kind of put out a tweet of like the show goes on as sort of nobody's bigger than what this entity is.
Sure.
So one person is going to stall the momentum that we have, and so I think was ready to make that. He and the department obviously ready to have somebody in that role that there's confidence in. So I think it'll probably all work out on that front.
And again, like anyone who might be worried about like what's lingering because of that situation, I would think that Laird Veach, working as well as he did with Mario Mocha, would know exactly the type of situation that Mocha was in, and would be able to find out everything that actually happened. So
to be satisfied of what he needed to know.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good move. Get the old band back together. You kind of wonder, like when Laird Veach took the job here as the AD, okay, how many more like former Alden guys and gals could be filtering back into the mix? But yeah, here's one. And we'll see Mario Mocha lead Every True Tiger Brands as their CEO going forward, replacing Brad Larondo, who went to Washington State. 875-KTGR, give us a call or a text to let us know what you think about SEC basketball, Mizzou basketball, as we talk about the tiers coming up.
Yep.
Look, I mean, I've been doing this for weeks.
Okay. I was right until I wasn't, but I think I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'm ready to look at Alabama a little bit more closely, resembling an Arkansas than a Florida. Florida's on its own. I had Alabama up there. I'll say Alabama and Arkansas are the tier 2 teams. Florida's in tier 1. And that's really a tier break in and of itself within the SEC of like, as much as it's a deep league that's going to see a lot of tournament teams, there's not a team below that line that's going to cut down the nets this year. Alabama, Arkansas, outside shot at a Final Four type of run.
Things got to align for them, I think. They need some favorable matchups.
There, you could theoretically win it all once you get there. I wouldn't predict it. I think they'd be an underdog to most of the types of teams we expect to get there. But I would say, Alabama, Arkansas, Final Four, if things break really, really well for them, they've got that type of ceiling. Florida has a national championship pedigree and could be that type of team. So that's why the tier difference for me there. But then below that top 3, I don't think there's anybody on the list that's going to be that has even an outside shot to win a national championship realistically.
Okay, so that tier 3 there, correct me if I'm wrong, was Tennessee, Kentucky, Vanderbilt.
Vanderbilt was there, and Missouri was there as well. I don't feel as strongly about that.
Really?
I really don't. After the loss to Oklahoma, if it's a 3-point loss on the road, I don't really worry about it. I mean, they're capable of those types of performances. We've seen, as much as we've talked about this team on about a last month pace being on a really good roll, they've had 2 games where they've laid total complete eggs against kind of mid-pack teams, Texas and Oklahoma. So I'm going to bump Missouri back down into tier 4 and try to ascertain, the teams in that tier that I really think they're most similar to. I don't necessarily feel like Vandy, Tennessee, and Kentucky are head and shoulders above them. And so
that's why I'm
having
reluctant. I'm a little reluctant.
I'm having a hard time between those three, Missouri, A&M, Texas, and Georgia. That group of 7 is where I'm like, where do you draw that line?
It's like, okay, like I get it that Mizzou just lost by 16 to OU. OU has been looking a lot better recently.
And I had OU up in that Auburn region last week, and I convinced you to do the same. Auburn and Oklahoma kind of in its own tier. Oklahoma's not making the tournament, but they're just every bit as good as Georgia and Texas, in my opinion. I mean,
the way they're playing right now, definitely they're a dangerous team in that sense. I think I'll go with what you're going to. Like, Mizzou technically is still on the bubble now, according to Lenardi. He's not the Bible on this, but he's pretty good at it. And Mizzou does need to be mindful of their standing when it comes to their NCAA tournament resume over the next week and a half. They can't rest on their laurels. I think they do have to feel, if they want to not sweat it out.
Yeah,
they've got to win at least one more game. And so that's probably, I mean, I would think that's the case for everyone that maybe is in that same tier that we're putting Mizzou in. I think that's Texas. I think that's A&M. I think that's Georgia.
Yeah, Georgia is the one that creates the problem with me for Bama because of their win over Alabama. So actually, for me, you don't want to take lock on just reacting to the most recent thing. But Georgia, I think, is pretty well going to be in this tournament.
Yeah.
Texas could still lose to Oklahoma, and then we're kind of looking at where they are, but they've got big wins on their resume too. I think Missouri, A&M, Texas, Georgia is a correct tier. I don't feel so strongly that Vandy, Tennessee, Kentucky is just head and shoulders, but I think there's an upside to each of those three to be a second weekend team, and then Elite Eight caliber if it all breaks right. Like, nobody would be surprised if Kentucky suddenly turns it on, gets maybe a reasonable draw, and they're in the Elite Eight. I don't think anybody would be just stunned to their core by that. I think you could say the same about Tennessee and Vanderbilt. I wouldn't predict it for really any of them other than maybe Tennessee. Maybe I just get so enamored with they do have a great talent base there, and if those players all just figure it out at once, Kentucky could be pretty dangerous. But yeah, I think those are like second weekend type of teams, and I give them a better shot at getting there than I would necessarily think about Mizzou, A&M, Texas, or Georgia. I think it's more of an upset if those type of teams get there. And so I'm going to reluctantly make that my tier break, but I don't love it because I think you could make a case for any of those 7 teams to end up above one of the other 7.
Like, that's below them right now? You think
like, you could make a case that Georgia can go farther in March Madness than Vanderbilt or Tennessee. Like, you could make that case. I don't think I'm not labeling it that way, but I wouldn't fault anybody who would say, look, man, they just beat Alabama. They are playing well right now. They've had some big wins.
I'm not sold though. I think it's
on Georgia.
Yeah,
believe me, I'm
because
not sold on it, but I got to give them credit where it's due.
We still have to watch Mizzou do it, but if Mizzou does it this weekend, then will people say the same thing about them if they beat Arkansas? Like,
I think they would.
So?
I think Arkansas is just as good as Alabama. I don't know that Missouri is about to beat Arkansas, but if it happened, I'd have to adjust.
It's just that I do want to avoid overreacting to one result like that. I still think that Georgia's a solid team. They've done firmly enough to be in the NCAA tournaments. Let's be honest, though. They'll probably be an 8-9. Like, are you sure they're going to make a huge run? I think they have no chance to beat a Duke or a Michigan.
I agree.
Or
they're going to win one game, if that, and then be done.
Yeah.
Which is why I have it tiered the way that I do. I just want to point out that, like, if I plopped Georgia in as a 6 and gave them the same benefit of the doubt that Vanderbilt's going to receive, despite having plenty of questionable performances of late, Vanderbilt's got a much more attainable path to that Sweet 16, and so they're probably more likely to get to one. I just think the margins are thinner there this time between tiers 3 and 4. In Missouri, I'd put them toward the top of tier 4, but I'm going to take Mizzou out of tier 3 at this point because, like, yeah, they could miss the tournament. I mean, if they get blasted in a game against Arkansas and truly just lay the egg of all eggs against like an LSU, if that's what they have to do on Wednesday, then yeah, I mean they would be very nervous on Sunday. So I did it. I moved them up, and I wanted to believe that we were gonna, these days of the letdown were behind us, but it wasn't. You had the letdown. Now let's ping pong it back because that's sort of been the story of Mizzou's season. But for now, that's how I'm going to tier it.
Okay, we're doing our SEC basketball tiers here on the Big Show. You can text in yours at 875-KTGR. Okay, here's how I'm going to do the next one.
Yeah, how do we approach this?
Okay, so we're at tier 5 now, right?
Right.
Okay,
which last week I think we both had Auburn and Oklahoma as the tier.
Yeah. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm splitting them up.
Really?
I am going to split up Oklahoma in its own tier 5, Auburn in its own tier,
Andy,
tier 6.
This is such a cop-out.
Here's what we're doing. No,
Okay.
listen, and I'm kind of stealing it from Nick Wright, who does tiers all the time.
Okay.
On his platforms. He had I think an excellent 2 lines of tiers. Auburn in tier 6 is terrible, but not hopeless. Meanwhile, Oklahoma above them in tier 5, not terrible, but hopeless.
Yeah, they're hopeless, but not terrible.
Yeah, like that is the distinction. Oklahoma is right now a better team than Auburn, but they do not have the results that allow them to have any type of upward trajectory to get in the NCAA tournament. At least Auburn, despite how terrible they've been, has a chance to still be sneaking their way in and maybe get, like, even though Lenardi says they're out, maybe they get the tournament committee to be, okay, well, they played a tough schedule.
What's their WAB?
Gosh, yeah, WAB. WAB.
Right now, they're
Ready
the
to-
second team out, according
WAB.
to Lenardi this morning. VCU being the first team out, and for whatever reason, New Mexico of the famed Mountain West gets credit and is in.
Yeah.
I don't understand it, man.
Yeah, it's just
They
crazy.
can't all be in, though. I mean, if I'm going to complain about Auburn, I can't then complain about who he does have in. So I don't know. Maybe I just need to let it go. Oklahoma is still in the next area, despite USC losing last night. They got a ways to go. I get it. It's clever the way you're breaking it down. I almost want to put Oklahoma up there next to the Georgia, Texas A&M, Texas, Missouri tier, but I recognize that Oklahoma can't make the tournament. So if you're basing this on like through a March Madness lens, that doesn't really make sense to do. I agree with everything you're saying. I think I have exhausted my number of weeks where I have done something cute and put teams in a tier by themselves. So I'm just going to leave, I think, Oklahoma and Auburn in the same tier. I think they should play a best of 7 series to decide who gets to be the last team in the NCAA tournament. Like, I think Oklahoma's the better team right now, but like you said, they're going to have a tough road to hoe to get the same credit as Auburn's getting. So I will not separate them. I'll just leave them where they are.
Okay. After that, there's 6 teams left?
I think there's 4.
4 teams left. You're right.
Miss State, LSU, Ole Miss, South Carolina. I split them up last week. I don't really think I care to anymore. They're just all in that range, unless you can correct me.
Yeah, I also think that. They're just,
I didn't last week, but now that we're like at the end of it and we're about to, like, what sold me is talking about who I want to see Mizzou face or avoid. And I'm like, they're all kind of pretty much the same. I think South Carolina is its own bad, but these other teams, I don't have to hype them up. I mean, now Mississippi State's
technically
lost 4 in a
lowering
row.
KenPom. Yeah, that's kind of
They have
been
the
their
most
slide.
conference wins from that group, though. And if they win their last game, which they won't, but if they did, they would be tied with Oklahoma in the standings, assuming Oklahoma loses to Texas. Like, I don't know. I'm going to just say they're all 4 kind of the same. Hopeless, but hopeless. That's the tier for me.
Bad and hopeless. Yes.
Mostly bad, aggressively mediocre on their best day, and certainly hopeless.
I think that's fair. I don't need too many tiers anyway. I'm maxed out at
You
7.
definitely don't. You're pushing it already, buddy.
I didn't need 8.
I'm going to do 16 tiers, and these are my rankings of these tiers.
What do you know?
With a cutesy name for each of them.
It's great.
I was like, I'm tired. Can I just not?
Oh, man. SEC basketball tiers, you can text us yours, 875-KTGR here on The Big Show.
That's our only difference, too, today, I think, is that
was Mizzou.
You splitting up Oklahoma. Well, you do keep Missouri in tier 3.
Did I?
I'm asking you.
Oh.
I didn't really log it. I guess we didn't touch on this.
I mean, we kind of did.
Yeah, but tell me your answer. I want to put it on the sheet.
I thought I had said I was going to drop him down. No, I'm gonna drop him down. Okay. Yeah, that's the other part. I didn't want to overreact to just one result, but at the same time, if we're talking about lion's share of the season, what they've been is around the same thing that Texas and Georgia and A&M have been.
And like Kentucky, just for example, again, it's not all about bracketology and not all about path through the tournament, but Vandy is a projected 5, Kentucky is a projected 6, and Tennessee is a projected 5. So like, as much as I do think these conference standings could end up going any which way, and Missouri can help decide that, Missouri is not like those others. Missouri is going to be a 9 or a 10 at best. Maybe not at best. I mean, stranger things have happened if you beat Arkansas, but they're not in that same category. The path to a Sweet 16 is going to be much more difficult for any of those other teams because I don't think anybody in that list, maybe A&M. I got to look at what Texas A&M is projected as.
They are probably a 10 also because they're in the last
11
4
right now.
Okay.
Actually. They're their last 4 buys, so they're below Mizzou.
Yeah.
Nobody in that group, I don't even think Georgia's going to be an 8. They're a 9 right now. Not anybody in that group is going to avoid the 8-9. At like their best case scenario is that you're probably in the 8-9. Maybe Georgia could do it if it goes on a crazy run. Missouri at least would know it's playing Arkansas, so that would be a feather in its cap. But I think the teams in the tier that is with Missouri right now, that's all the teams that are going to be labeled 8 through 11 if they're in March Madness.
It'll be fascinating as Selection Sunday nears. And depending on what Mizzou does, a boost could come if they are able to pick off Arkansas this weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Give us a call or a text to see if you think it'll happen. 573-875-KTGR here on The Big Show as we talk more Mizzou. We'll also talk Chiefs. Who will be the first free agent that they sign when the league year starts next week? I believe on Monday. Is that right? I think so. I think it seems that there could be momentum for them jumping right out of the gate and making a splash. We'll talk about it next year on The Big Show.
Breaking down the Tigers, Cardinals, Chiefs, and more like no one else. The Big Show continues next on KTGR.
Hi, everyone. Andy Humphrey here for Advanced Tree Solutions. Wintertime is when your trees are barren, obviously. No leaves yet. We'll get to that very soon, but you still need to be aware of how your trees are growing during this time, especially if they're hanging over those power lines, right? That can be dangerous. And so now that there aren't leaves on the branches yet, now's a good time to get tree pruning done so that they can be safe once we see that growth back. Eric and his team at Advanced Tree Solutions, they are excellent to work with. They've come to my yard before, taken a tree out that was dead. They're honest, upfront, and trained, and they know exactly how to take care of your trees. Because, look, the power company's not going to know how to do it. Most lawn services, they don't know how to really take care of them. Eric and his team does. Go to advancedtreesolutionsllc.com. You can contact them to book for tree pruning and also look at the other services they have so that you can get ready for springtime at advancedtreesolutionsllc.com. Give your trees the care they deserve with Advanced Tree Solutions.
Before the sun comes up and long after it sets, ABC 17 News and Storm Track Weather keep working for you, gathering the information your family needs to take on the day, alerting you to breaking news and health and safety concerns in our area, plus tracking the latest weather conditions to help you plan ahead. It's everything you need to know from the team you trust most. ABC 17 News and Storm Track Weather, where the news comes first.
From elegant weddings to corporate lunches with flavor and flair, Courtyard by Marriott Columbia brings the party and the pros. It's the home of Main Event Catering, and with every event, you'll get an award-winning chef. full banquet staff, and drop-and-go options for any size crowd. And the event center holds up 300 guests with 8 flexible rooms. If you need help, there's a Marriott certified wedding coordinator on staff too. Book now by calling 573-443-8000.
Michael Agnew here with API Project Fitness. I understand that life is hard, and if you're soft, it will squish you. You must find a way to be hard. Armor yourself up mentally and physically and emotionally. Our goal is to help you find your inner strength and hardness. The difference between strength and weakness is choice. With our group fitness classes and personal training and open gym, the choice is yours. Choose strength. Find us at apiprojectfitness.com or call us at 573-268-6944 to make an appointment.
Hey, kids! Tired of working out in the peace and quiet of your own home? Why be comfy when you could be cringy? It's about time you signed up for a gymbership. For 12 easy installments of $499.99, you can lie down on pre-soaked workout benches, enjoy awkward locker room talk, and get judged hard by dudes who look like they could rip a pickup truck in half. Gymbership comes with everything you see here, batteries not included. Or you could shop at Play It Again Sports for fitness and workout equipment. Think of them first so you don't finish last. PlayItAgainSportsColumbiaMo.com.
As we get into the heart of basketball season, 1851 Underground Tap and Grill wants to remind you whether you need a place to grab a bite after a local high school or college game, or you want to plop down with some friends and watch some of that college conference action on TV, they've got a spot for you. Your favorite cold beer or cocktail and delicious appetizer or dinner options on the menu. Check them out on Facebook or at 1850 Underground Tap and Grill in the historic Brick District, downtown Fulton.
Tired of calling Andy and Brendan? So are their wives. Then shoot them a text right now. 573-875-KTGR and become part of the Big Show.
So tell us who is moving up or down in your SEC basketball tiers. 573-875-KTGR here on the Big Show. Andy and Brendan. We moved the Mizzou down. And I mean, the loss to Oklahoma I guess it outweighed what happened against Mississippi State. I suppose, with how we're saying. I mean,
that's an interesting question.
That's what happened in the last week. An awesome win at Mississippi State, and then a loss that you don't feel great about.
Yeah,
against Oklahoma.
I think that's right, because you were supposed to win the Mississippi State game. How you did it was really impressive, but what does it gain you relative to falling flat in the game that mattered more, I guess?
It's very, quad 2 game for Mizzou, technically, at Mississippi State.
It was still, the spread was like even Steven, so we might be underselling that win, but recency bias.
And then, because then you go on the road against the team that, look, is better, playing better, but where was your offense? Like, where did it go? You got to find that back. And it is fair to question whether it will be back at home against Arkansas. So we'll see what happens. But we moved them down to tier 4 along with Georgia and Texas A&M. Technically, Georgia not really a bubble team anymore, but everything else in that grouping squarely on the bubble. We'll see if Mizzou can improve that standing over the next week and a half as they look to improve their seed in the SEC and NCAA tournament going forward. Here on the Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app. You can comment on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@KTGR Sports and Facebook.com/KTGR Big Show. Who is going to be the first free agent signed by the Chiefs officially next week when the league year opens? I mean, it seems the way that they are clearing the space from the McDuffie trade, from everything else they've done, cutting Jawan Taylor, cutting Mike Dana, restructure Patrick Mahomes' contract. They probably want to get right down to it right away.
Yeah.
And if they do have that, if there is in fact contact between them and Travis Etienne or whoever, they know what the numbers are going to be. Well, shoot. Do you think we see it day one? That they're like, yeah, here's Travis Etienne or Tyler or somebody, whatever. Insert running back here.
Do you think running back will be their first signing, I guess is my question.
I think yes.
Because it's the need that we know is real and is going to be addressed in some way. So I feel like that's probably a pretty good guess.
I think it's that or pass rusher.
Which I was going to mention, the cost factor, I don't know for the player at this age, but I'm looking at ESPN's list of the top 100. Number 1 on the list is Trey Hendrickson. Like, we're at the end of that saga with the Bengals.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a pretty good player, but he's going to be 31 this season.
And he'll command a lot of money, too. I mean, it was going to be hard for someone to wrestle him away via trade anyway, and then you're also going to have to pay what he was wanting. And so it's a possibility. You're certainly looking at it. You're checking in. You're saying, hey, what's the number? I want to know the
number.
Price. Right?
I want to know the number.
Yeah.
And he had 4 sacks in 7 games last year. I think I don't know how badly he was hurt for some of those games. I think it's like the Bengals kind of did you wrong. And so you want to make sure that you don't jeopardize anything. You don't want to play through anything that, especially for that Bengals team that we knew pretty quickly was not going anywhere. But he had 17.5 sacks the year before that. Now, is that a production drop due to age? Hit that 30 mark, or is that I'm preserving my body to make sure I'm ready for the team that's going to let me cash in? He'd be an interesting name. Jalen Phillips is number 3, an edge rusher from the Eagles. Number 3 in terms of the top 100 free agents,
regardless of position. Yeah,
2 edge rushers in the top 3. 2 is Linderbaum from the Ravens, the center, who is hitting free agency at 26. I mean, you don't really ever see that, but he's on their list. Owe from the Chargers is another edge that cracks the top 10.
That'd be a good one. I'd like that. If the price is right, that might be cheaper than Trey Hendrickson though. That's kind of the lane that I see the Chiefs rolling through here, unless they decide, hey, what we've done is not good enough. Let's splurge for somebody. I have a hard time seeing them splurging because they have so much committed to Chris Jones, because, I mean, the Karlaftis deal, I mean, for the caliber of player he is, it's not awful, but it is a lot of money. It prohibits you a little bit. I wonder if there's a stomach for it, if maybe you still have a plan to have a young edge rusher come in through the draft and you feel good.
I was going to ask if you'd want an older edge rusher on a shorter deal if you were going to also draft, but like that could, let's say you're going to spend a first or second rounder on an edge rusher, but you're going to give that kid a little bit of time before having to be the guy.
Yeah.
You're going to say, Karlaftis, you need to do your job. And then on the other side, you get like a Khalil Mack from within the division.
That'd be something. Yeah.
5.5 sacks last year, missed 5 games. He's going to be 35, but is that a guy that I think he's about 20th on this list for ESPN.com? Is that a guy that you would say, hey, for a year, you pay him and you draft somebody, and then I don't think signing a Khalil Mack to a 1-year deal precludes you from spending that number 9 pick on a great edge rusher.
Oh, no.
I think then you just have some really good depth and you have a little bit of a ability to rotate, and what you get from Mack would maybe be the freshest thing you could hope for because he's maybe not required to play quite as many downs. I would be very curious if something like that from within the division. Obviously they get a look at him. I don't guess he played in the first game. I'm trying to recall when he was out last year, but I'm reading here he missed 5 games. So the Chiefs obviously familiar enough with him. I'd be curious if that would be something that they would be interested in. Like, there's a lot of ways it could go. For those wondering, ETN is 21st on this list in terms of the top 100 free agents. There are some Chiefs that you find within that top 25. What if the answer is just Jalen Watson? Because technically he's a free agent. And
yeah, I don't think so. I actually, I'm not thinking it. Yeah. I mean, if you're going to move on from McDuffie, I think that maybe is the writing on
What
the
do you
wall for
do?
Watson too.
Are you promoting from within, or are you drafting a couple of them? How do you approach
You're doing
that
both.
cornerback?
I think you're doing both. You like Noel Williams. You like Shamari Connor. Probably more at safety though. But I think you're also. I would, if I had to bet, number 29 is most likely going to be a corner. If you ask me,
Really,
I think I think that's why you coop that pick, and it allows you a little bit of, okay, now we can really go after what we want at 9, and the best thing that we like, because we know something good's going to be available there. And then once you get further down the list, you do realize that you have to get the next corner. I would think that they would want to have the best guy possible and have it be 29, but it might not have to be. They could use their second or third round pick on it, and I think be okay, because again, I trust this organization's ability to draft strong corners with how they've been able to identify them under Brett Veach over the last decade. I mean, Charvarius Ward, Jarius Sneed, and now McDuffie, and obviously Jalen Watson, and even guys beyond that have been serviceable. But again, the math can be, you allow those guys to develop even as starters, getting those types of reps, because the pass rush is not having to force them to cover for 7 seconds every time. And so that's been the formula, and it's worked. So I think they identify their best corners. They decide if they feel like if they're going to still be there in the second or third round, they go ahead and wait. But maybe if they really like, I forget who was slated there in the latest mock, but Kuiper did have them taking a corner at 29 in his latest update. I would think they get the best guy available in that spot at 29, if in fact they're able to get either a Carnell Tate or a Reuben Bain with the number 9 spot.
Okay. I love looking at this list. A name that, and I'm just trusting the ESPN list at this point. I don't know. Maybe some guys will be tagged. I assume that's all done, so this should be updated. But here's a name that is maybe a little outside the box, and it's pending the other situation. Isaiah Likely is 18th on this list. I wonder if they knew Kelsey wasn't coming back. Look, maybe the timeline on that is just not going to happen. They're probably not spending big at tight end. Isaiah Likely, I think, is a player that if he lands in the right situation, he's more of a receiver at the tight end position, really, that I think could be interesting. And that's why he's number 18 on this list. So he'd be somebody else. I would say, hey, I mean, I always want to know the price of these names we're talking about, but I would have interest if I'm the Chiefs pending the Kelsey stuff, which, by the way, Kelsey is listed on here at number 60. So maybe Travis Kelsey is the answer, because he's technically someone that if he's going to play, that will not be the first one they sign. It's
sure. Yeah. No, I think
Kelsey's coming back. It's going to be a while.
And I mean, it's hard to know whether you're deciding upon that before knowing how much room you have to give to Kelsey. That has to be the type of conversation. And I would have hoped, at least from the Chiefs' perspective, maybe they know. So. Maybe they know now, and they're like, okay.
But they're going to respect his timeline on sharing it.
What he wants to do. So, no, that's interesting. The only counter I would have to that, and maybe this is lending more towards Kelsey coming back, which I don't know if I would necessarily want, but if it's dragged out this long, then maybe it's happening.
To be clear, because it'd be fun.
I think underrated part of it, he's an excellent pass catcher. That's what he's in the Hall of Fame for. Underrated part of his game is the blocking, though, and the run blocking. And if the Chiefs are going to revamp their run game the way that they need to, maybe a guy like Kelsey, at least around for one more year, is able to kickstart that again. Because I don't know if the tandem of Likely and Noah Gray is
Likely isn't
apt
as
to
much.
do that.
Yeah, Likely's not as much of an answer for that.
So it is interesting, though. Like, I would think about, like, maybe Noah Gray, I think, is still under contract. You could still cut him, I suppose. But if you're cutting Noah Gray, I would think, okay, Bring in Isaiah Likely. See how it goes. That could be an interesting wrinkle to what the Chiefs do pass catching wise. But yeah, other moves I think would have to happen first before you decide to do that. If it's in fact again, maybe he's available, maybe not. I don't know what the situation is there with the Ravens, but those are interesting ones. I do still think though, like it could be day one. Like Adam Schefter or Rappaport says Tyler Algier and the Chiefs are doing a 3-year, $21 million deal or whatever it is. Something like that. But
yeah. And then we'll know. I mean, at least you'll know. I do think they'll address running back pretty quick. And I'm not really rooting for the ETN outcome because I think it's going to be kind of a relative overpay compared to that. Like he just had his best season ever. And before this year, I was kind of like, on Travis Etienne. So that's usually not the time you want to sign a guy, but that doesn't mean he can't do it again. You could find countless examples of, players that sign in free agency. I would just rather get, and I don't know who the player in this class would be, but I'd rather get the Javonte Williams, a player that I know is a good player, but his value is down. Now, that's some people would say, Brendan, the Chiefs can't afford to mess this up. It's like, that's fair. But I think when the Cowboys signed him, that was a really solid get. And now they've extended him a new contract and they're paying him appropriately to the role in the offense. Like, you don't have to say Elijah Mitchell is your value of a running back that you're willing to spend on and give him $1 million or whatever.
Yeah.
To do the value proposition that I would be talking about.
Does Rico Dowdle fit that?
No, because I think he's going to probably get a multi-year contract as well. I wouldn't touch him personally. I don't want anything to do with Dowdle.
Okay. Because again, a guy that you bring in for multi-year, it gives you the cover to maybe draft high.
Yeah, it does.
With the running back there. But it just curious with how he might be looking in this market. I'm not going to rule out Kenneth Walker either.
I wouldn't either. That would be the big swing. Even he might make a little more money than ETN because he just won the Super Bowl MVP. But he's one that I think could play out okay. Like, yes, you're paying a sticker shock, but I'm maybe a little more okay with it.
Yeah. But the way that he produced down the stretch under that type of pressure.
And he's 2 years younger. That's the thing for me. That's what I get bothered about ETN. Walker is projected by Spot Track to get $9 million a year. ETN's just a shade under 7, but the ages are 25.3. So a young 25 right now for Walker versus ETN's 27.
Yeah, man.
That's where I'm like, once you get to 28 as a running back, if I just paid you, like, I want to get a year out of a 26-year-old running back before I start to get into that 28, 29-year-old range. And so that's why I'm a little bit of a skeptic. But those ancillary running backs, in fairness, I don't know if there's a Javonte Williams breakout looming in that next tier, because those guys, I think Williams got like $3 million, give or take, from Dallas on a 1-year deal last year. The guys in that kind of range are older players like Dobbins, Eckler, Najee Harris. Maybe Najee Harris, but I don't really think he's that. I don't think he's the answer to replacing Pacheco. I think they're kind of too similar as players.
Yeah.
Plotting, not super top end speed. I have said wouldn't hate Kenny Gainwell. If they knew they were going to spend a premium pick on the position in the draft, I wouldn't hate a Kenneth Gainwell. He can receive the ball. He can do it. He's versatile. He's not a game breaker, but he's a solid player, and you're going to get what you pay for. And then I'm definitely going, do I want Jeremiah Love? Do I have another name on day 2? But I think it's appropriate for the Chiefs if and when they get somebody that's a high-end name, they pay for it. It's appropriate, and we'll at least be able to say, hey, we're finally getting that help from Mahomes. Just don't mess it up. Just don't go the wrong direction, because then it's going to set you back.
Number 9 pick is the biggest pick the Chiefs have had in a decade at least. They cannot screw that one up. We'll see what they go with there, but we'll see what their first free agent signing ends up being. Does it come on day 1 next week of the league year? 875-5847 here on The Big Show. An update on the wild story in Missouri high school playoff basketball last night. You got to hear it. It's next.
Now, your local Sports Center update on your total sports station, KTGR.
Good afternoon. I'm Andy Humphrey. This Sports Center update is with Lee's Tire Company. If it's round and rubber, Lee sells it. Go to leestirecompany.com. Mizzou women's basketball bowed out early of the SEC tournament in Greenville, South Carolina last night in a 65-48 loss to the 11 seed Alabama. Jordana Reisma led the Tigers with 15 points. Grace Slaughter had a double-double with 11 points, 11 rebounds. But the Tigers now are 16-16 overall. The season might not be over for them as they await a potential invitation to a postseason tournament. It could most likely come from the WBIT, who releases their 32-team field next Sunday, March 15th. Mizzou and their NIL marketing agency, Every True Tiger Brands, announced today that Mario Mocha will be their new CEO, taking over for Brad Larondo, who departed late last year. Mocha is a former Mizzou administrator, was the deputy AD from 1998 to 2006. Most recently was the athletic director at New Mexico State from 2015 to 2025. Mizzou baseball coverage is underway now on the KTGR app as the Tigers start a 4-game set tonight at Taylor Stadium against UIC. Mizzou looking to extend what is now an 8-game winning streak. Now your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast.
I'm tracking drier conditions tonight through most of tomorrow with some scattered showers and storms still possible in western Missouri. There's some uncertainty on how long that lingers tomorrow, but we are still expecting severe storms to develop by late Friday afternoon into the evening, past 5 to 6 p.m. in western Missouri, with a line of thunderstorms moving in later in the night. All severe hazards are possible, including a few tornadoes. I'm meteorologist Nate Splater, and that's your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast on your total sports station, KTGR.
On Simmons Field.
Swinging a ground ball, hit past third and the left. That's a base hit.
And across the SEC.
Fastball, swing and a miss. He struck him out.
The Tigers are ready to roar.
There it goes. Long drive, deep right field. That is gone.
This is your radio home for Mizzou baseball.
The Tigers win this one in a walk-off here in the bottom of the 9th inning.
Mid-Missouri's total sports station, KTGR.
Your restaurant has great food, but you're still not seeing as many people come through the door as you'd like. You offer an amazing experience and the food is incredible, but you just need more people to try you. That's where ShopMidmo.com comes in. When you're part of ShopMidmo.com, thousands of potential customers will see your offers, helping you build your exposure. It's an amazing tool for restaurants who offer great experiences to the best foodies in town. Find out how ShopMidmo.com can give your restaurant a jump start. Contact us at
ShopMidmo.com.
To you, they're basically invisible. Tiny, weird, winged insects. Out of sight, out of mind, right? Not exactly. You see, while you're living your best human life above ground, there could be up to 1 million termites foraging for wood underneath your home. Steve's Pest Control needs you to know that termites are a serious problem. Like up to $5 billion a year serious. Oh, and that homeowner's insurance you've got? Yeah, termite damage isn't covered. In Missouri, it's not a matter of if you're going to get termites, it's when. A termite queen can lay over 20,000 eggs a day, and their colonies could house up to 1 million termites each. Upgrade your 5-star service with Steve's to the 5-star Advantage plan. In most cases, for less than $1.50 per day, you can show those termites that the Centricon system and Steve's Pest Control are a serious threat too.
Hi, I'm Steve with Steve's Pest Control. We're going to solve your pest problem. I guarantee it.
Now you got a friend in the pest control business. Steve's Pest Control.
This is Phil Fortaleza here with Mizzou Basketball's Anthony Robinson II and his mama Nisha, getting ready for the latest Sticklin' and Sticklin' injury law commercial.
Aunt, you got your line?
I got it, Mom.
Go ahead.
When sorry just doesn't cut it.
Call Sticklin' and Sticklin'.
Mom, that's my line.
At Sticklin' and Sticklin', all they do is personal injury.
Sticklin' and Sticklin'.
It's a slam dunk.
Your foresight is so good, you can practically see into the future. But fortune telling isn't the career path you want to take. Instead of predicting people's futures, you can help build them at Fuse 32. Because you recognize things before they can even become problems. You love the thrill of success and getting paid for it. All that's left to do now is look into that crystal ball and see yourself on the sales team at Fuse 32. There's nothing we can't do. Apply now at Fuse32.com.
Now through March 31st at Clark Warehouse Tire and Auto, get up to $170 back on a Firestone prepaid MasterCard. Get up to $70 back when you purchase 4 eligible Firestone tires, plus up to an extra $100 back when you use your CFNA credit card. Upgrade your ride and save big today at any Clark Warehouse Tire and Auto location. Subject to credit approval, restrictions apply. Visit FirestoneRewards.com for details.
Clark Warehouse Tire and Auto, keeping Missouri rolling since 1949.
We're trying to save people money. Go.
What if we cut sandwiches into thirds instead of halves?
We could stop buying warranties and just hope.
What about switching our toilet paper to half ply?
Ew.
It doesn't take a terrible think tank to save money. Just shop at Family Pawn. They've got jewelry, electronics, tools, and gifts for way less. No sacrifices, no half-ply TP. Ugh.
Not your traditional pawn shop. Family Pawn.
If it's Mizzou sports, it's happening here. Now, back to the big show on KTGR.
Again, you can call or text us here on the show. And if you missed any of the show, download the free KTGR app and check out the podcast there. You can take us wherever you go, and it's totally free. Why wouldn't you do it? You can also use that to listen to Mizzou baseball right now as the Tigers take on UIC. First pitch coming up in about 10 minutes. Brendan, what you got?
Well, is that a new feature? I was just inquiring on you're talking about an app, and I wanted to make sure that it was a feature that we've rolled this out. Like it's live now. It's not something that's still kind of in progress.
I'm pretty sure the last liner we just played included it. And that liner has been playing for a while.
I mean, you say that, but I just thought I know we've talked about it. There have been discussions internally on, hey, maybe we could get an app. I just didn't know if it was live.
There have been external ones as well. God. Oh man, the bit will never end.
Every 4 months or so, he's got to. I'll do it more.
Yeah. Now we got to keep it going. Update on the crazy story from yesterday in Missouri high school playoff basketball. Principia and Highland girls, class 3 sectional, they had to pick up where it was interrupted. 54 seconds left in the third quarter. That's when they realized their scoring discrepancy, even though it was a discrepancy that happened like minutes before, and they were trying to fix it on the fly, and several people just not communicating and it's not getting it right in the moment. And it was under protest. The protest procedure wouldn't follow. Big thing. Misha just decided, you know what, redo. Even though Principia went on to win the earlier game, we're just going to redo this. Everybody come back to Hannibal. We're going to play the final 8 minutes and 54 seconds of this game where it was left off. Highland up by 5, so it switched necessarily what could have been the outcome. Right. Because Principia came back from that point. Well, they picked up last night, Brendan, and turns out Principia once again came back, got the win.
I don't know if this is a ball don't lie or not, because I don't really know for sure whatever came of. Did they rule it right at first and they got it wrong? It changed the outcome. It changed the score of what it would have been. So they had to go back to where they had the misstep,
right.
I think.
Well, it was Highland who was short at a point, and so Highland
it would have been a tie if you would have just added the
theoretically.
So you had to go back. And for Principia, my thought yesterday was, oh my gosh, you got to drive all the way up there, and you feel like you already had won the game. Good coaching by that Principia group, because for them to say, hey, they're not taking this away from us. Go win the game again. And I think they rattled off the first 13 points off the bus to stake out a lead and win that game. So that feels like, and I didn't have a horse in the race, but it feels like the right outcome. I think it would have just been devastating to think you won, nothing you did wrong, and then to go up and see them kind of fall flat. Tough to have the 5-point deficit reinstalled as well, but that's what I think of first is that must be some darn good coaching to have those girls ready to say, hey, wipe the slate and go do it again. And they did. I mean, that's pretty impressive.
I mean, voted number 1 in the state for a reason is Principia, and they were beating the number 3 team in the state. And now their reward in the quarterfinals, they get to play the number 2 team in Class 3.
I didn't make the bracket. Andy didn't make the bracket.
It's a whole other thing. It's just long conversation, maybe for another day. But yeah, Principia taking on Centralia here in mid-Missouri. That game's going to be tomorrow night in Fulton at 6 o'clock. So that Principia team going to be here close to town as they look for a trip to the Final Four, which if they go to that, they'll obviously be coming to Mizzou Arena the next week. But we'll see if Centralia can maybe pull off the upset there, because that's a lot of traveling back and forth for Principia. Centralia, you just take a short drive down over to Fulton, and maybe you get a chance to take down a team that maybe is slated to be the favored to be the state champion. Again, by the polls, not necessarily saying that Centralia can't do it, because Centralia's got the chops for sure.
You're talking like you got odds on this.
No.
That was even
no. There are no odds on this at all.
I knew I could make you uncomfortable before the show ended.
No. I was firm in how I wanted to deliver that. But hey, we'll see. You know what? Good luck, Centralia. I hope Centralia wins.
Good luck to everybody. I say.
You're not taking a side.
I hope both sides have fun.
All right.
That's what I hope.
Very good. Thanks for joining us. Thanks also to Drew King of PowerMizzou.com for coming on earlier and talking some Mizzou basketball with us. We'll talk more of that tomorrow. Give our predictions for Mizzou, Arkansas. Get you set for the final regular season weekend in college basketball with Picks of the Week. And Rob Bino telling us what to do in our jurisdiction of legality for all of that. Be sure to join us tomorrow for all the fun. Again, football on the KTGR app that has been live for a lot longer than Brendan has realized.
Yeah, well.
For Mizzou baseball, which is getting started in just a little bit. Turn that on the KTGR app. We'll see you tomorrow. He's Brendan. I'm Andy. We're done for now.
My name is Taylor, and I have had insurance with Phyllis Nichols and her team